Hi, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. Um, just want to say hi to Kente because he's working so hard today, and I want to thank him for giving me this little space to come out of retirement and speak about something with you guys. Maybe you're not aware, but my name's Sandra, but also people know me as Ebony Empress. So you'll see on my little link that I have both names. Um, Ebony Empress because for something like about 7 years, I had my own blog talk radio show, and my stuff is still up there on Ebony Empress, but I haven't done a show in a little while. So for the last few years, I've been quiet, and the reason why I've been quiet is because I've been studying. I have done a psychosocial science degree for 3 years, which I graduated from this year. And I've just started my master's. So my master's is in managing consultancy and organizational change. So that's my stuff in the work world. But Kente kind of invited me to come and have a conversation. And I'm excited to be with you guys. I'm in London. You may not recognize the accent much, but I'm in London. And in London, it's about 23:04 or 5. So it's kind of getting late here, but I'm not working until late tomorrow. So I'm happy to be sharing my hour with you. Okay. So welcome to everyone. I hope you're going to enjoy the conversation. I want to say hi also to Jay Karina. Sorry, remind me of your first name again,
It's
because
just
I've just
Jen.
got Jen.
Yep,
So I've got
just Jen.
Jen online with me as well. And I know I got a guy called It's My House who's gonna maybe jump on
Is that
and have a
oh, there you go.
conversation. I see him coming. Yeah, hey. And he's one of my old time fans who still follows me from Blog Talk Radio. And we've had many conversations about relationships. So get involved. Please make some comments in the chat room, which at the moment, because I'm on an Android, I can't see, but I'm going to trust other people on my panel to let me know if anybody shares anything that you guys need to know about. Is that okay?
All right.
Good. Everybody happy? Welcome, guys. So what did I want to talk about tonight? I am focusing on a conversation on the over 40s. And I wanted to say that being 40 is the start of your whole life, okay? But over 40s sometimes have some issues with being single. And my question was, if you're over 40 and single, does that mean that you will never find a partner? You're kind of destined to be single forever. Okay, all right. Is that it? Are you never going to find a partner because, God, we have so many issues over 40? I don't know. Or do we? Do we have any? What's going on? That's a conversation tonight. And I did write a blog about a year ago, and I still think it's relevant. So I'm going to kind of read it, which may get us started with the conversation. So recently I saw a post on Facebook where the writer was lamenting the fact he'd not been in a relationship for several years. He asked his friends on the network to share the length of time they'd been single, and suddenly posts came in left, right, and center where people were saying, I've been single for 6 years, 10 years, some even longer. I was a bit cynical about this post. I wanted to know if these periods of singleness were totally without any interaction from an opposite, or single with the odd dalliance. Sometimes you're getting the odd bit of action, right? My curiosity stemmed from wanting to know whether stories from my girlfriends are mirrored in the lives of other women and men. The question, however, still remains, and this was written in 2017, is being single a growing trend for the over 40s? So there are some national statistics. In the UK, there were 26.7 million households, and of those, 28% consisted of one person. Now, these millions of homes were occupied by a single parent with one or more children. The lone parent is still regarded as a single adult. There were at least 3 million couples cohabiting, and they are counted as single. The same-sex marriages are not included in these figures. We But if we consider people who have never been married, divorced, or widowed, the numbers of singles have risen above 50% since 1996. And this is a bit of a trend now. Singleness is becoming a trend. I'm just wondering, what's the plan? Do people over 40 have a plan to ever be in a relationship, or is this single now and single forever? That's the conversation, guys.
All right.
Chime in. Feel free to chime in. Okay. I gotta keep myself alive. I'm keeping myself happy, guys.
Well, this is what I would say. A lot of people who are in the 40 years old, a lot of times a lot of them have been married. So are we talking about the ones who's never been married at 40, or we're talking about the ones who are just single right now?
Well, they could have been married in the past, right? But even if they've been married before, they're single now. And the question is, if you were married before, could you be married again? Because there's a lot of people who go on and get married again. You know, it's not, that's it, never ever again. But the trends suggest that people are not going there, and they're remaining single. I'm just wondering why.
Well, there's a lot of men who, from a male perspective, I've never been married, so I'm just going by what I've heard from guys. There's the idea that they've been married and the divorce was really bad, and they're just like, you know what, I'm never getting married again, because maybe they were taken to the cleaners, or it was just a bad experience. Maybe custody. That's a big issue, not getting custody of the kids, or not getting custody that you would, prefer. So a lot of people who've been married before, they may opt not to, at least during that period of time, because of a negative feel. But then also you get the guys who are, from a man point of view, you get those guys who are eternal bachelors who just are not going to settle down. They're just, they're just that guy. Maybe late in life, but no. I think as a man, it's probably a little easier, I would think, to get married post 40. I guess it depends on the case, but it seems like the statistics are in men's favor when it comes to that. So, me, I just haven't been married yet, and I'm just now open to.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Just asking. Do you have anybody in mind right now?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I'm sure I got a lot of people in mind.
People.
Yeah, I got a list, man. I'm checking it twice. All the people on my list are naughty and not nice.
Oh, okay. So let me go to a lady. Jen, what do you think about this question?
All right. So first I have to say that my experience is a little bit different than Kinte's. I was married.
Okay.
I was married for 9 years. And then I was in a really long-term relationship for quite some time. We might as well have been married. Both of those people are gone now. They've passed on. So as time has gone by, I have become more and more independent in my own sense of what can I do for myself and how can I manifest the kind of reality that I want. And to that end, it is much harder for me to see sharing my life with someone unless it's like really kind of the perfect of the perfect. And I almost feel bad about saying that, but the experiences that I've had over my life so far have sort of made me a bit spoiled for what I really want. And some of that I think comes with maturing, but some of it I think comes from as you kind of adapt to what you've had in relationships past, you learn what you'd like for relationships going forward. And that pool sort of narrows down bit by bit. So it's harder to meet people that sort of fit all of the qualifications that you want. And all of a sudden, being married doesn't feel as epically important as it once did. I don't know. I don't know whether it's just that I feel more self-empowered or whether society has sort of helped me to cope with things that once upon a time would have been things I couldn't do by myself. And so maybe there's a little mixture of both. Maybe society has removed a whole bunch of stigmas and I feel far more okay about it. And also personally, I feel like, do I really need it? I don't know. I don't know. It's a tough one. This is a really tough one.
Okay. So it's my house. Happy New Year. How you doing?
Happy New Year. I'm good.
Okay. Thank you, Jen, for being so I know candid there. I like your conversation. I think it's interesting. There's lots I want to ask you, but let's go to It's My House. What are we saying?
Well, I've been married before.
Okay.
And I'd like to do it again.
Oh.
When I meet the right person and when we're both, and I could have met. I'm out here. To answer your question, in my belief, there are plenty of opportunities. It's just 40 and plus. It's just based on an individual's mindset, in my opinion. There's for men and women, I believe there's an abundance of available people. You just have to know what you want, and then there's really no such thing, in my opinion, as perfect. As well, who you think you can work with.
Okay. So, second question would be for me is, how long have you guys been single?
Ooh. Define single.
So single, without a partner, single. I know you may be getting a little something on the side. I know that happens, right? Okay. I'm gonna allow you that bit. But single, i.e. not in a partnership or relationship or be seeing someone regularly. And, I know single has such a broad meaning for a lot of people nowadays, right?
For me,
so, no official girlfriend.
I would say probably about a decade, 10 years.
10 years. Wow, that's long.
Yep.
And Kente, how long?
I guess it's been about 8 months, I guess.
Okay. That's good. Okay, so long. No long. And Jen, how long?
I got you. I'll be. I think I'm going on year 15.
Woo!
Yeah.
Hey, OMG. That is long.
The funny thing about saying that is actually, I thought I was actually going to feel a lot more shame about saying that.
There's no shame.
Kind of surprising.
Okay. Yeah. 15 years is a long time. Do you guys, apart from Kente, who's on a short lease, really, do you feel like that is so long being with yourself that it may be impossible to find someone now because you have been so much with just yourself? I don't know. I think for me, I don't know. The longer I stay single, the harder it is to bring someone into my space. And I just don't know. I haven't done 15 years. I am seeing someone at the moment. But if you guys are doing 15 years or 10 years, do you think it that makes it so much harder for you to find somebody?
Well,
I don't think
does.
so.
See? No, we got two different opinions. I think for me, it does. But it does because as each year passes by, I sort of refine what it is that I'm looking for. And I'm not setting anybody to any or up on any kind of pedestal like, oh my gosh, unless you meet this is, I can't do anything. I just actually got the last of my kids out of high school and into young adulthood. So I am feeling now like, okay, this is a brand new sort of moment in my life, a pivot point. And I haven't even begun to think about what life is now going to be like without the experience of having kids around that need constant parenting. And so that aspect of stuff sort of frees up for me a little bit of that kind of thought process where, I don't know, I think in some ways it makes it harder because you do become more selfish about what it is that I have a really hard time thinking about sharing a lot of the more private sections of my life just because I've just grown so accustomed to doing things one way. At the same time, I will say that the older that you get, the greater the need for companionship becomes. And I don't say that like from a material standpoint. I mean from an emotional, spiritual, intellectual standpoint. There are things that you really do want to share as you get older, and the longer that you're alone, the harder that is. So that's my take.
Okay. It's my house.
I
I
don't have a list.
different opinion.
I don't have a list. I don't have a list or anything. Basically, my whole thing is, now I agree with her 100% on the fact that the older you get, but I'm looking at it more of you need to have some type of support system the older you get, even if you think you don't need it. But I don't have a list. I just essentially go with the flow. I mean, if I wanted to be in a relationship right now, I could be, but right now. I don't know which one to pick.
Yeah, but you just said support system. What do you mean by support system?
Well, the
As
older
you get older,
well, all right, it's
system?
what I'm looking at is like our parents' generation. They're older. They're in their 90s, 80s, 90s, what have you. And so I'm looking at some of them don't have I would call it a social network support system. And they didn't think about it years ago. So I'm looking at, if you want to have in my opinion, a balanced life and a healthy life, because most people, particularly they're 20 or even 50, what's your life going to be like what kind of friends and what kind of support system are you going to have at 80 or 90? Most people don't think that far ahead. So I'm looking at, what kind of moves am I making now to just keep my social network growing? Because you might get sick. I don't have any problems with being alone right now. I like my company, but some people can't. I mean, they can't handle being alone. So, and thus, some people end up. We all know somebody they got out of one relationship yesterday, and within about 30 days they'll be in another one. And I'm talking about a live-in relationship. They just can't stand to be alone. So, but there's no one cookie cutter for everybody. But it's like I said, the main thing with me would be the love factor. I've come to from conclusions in my life and observation, as Tina Turner would say, love really doesn't have anything to do with anything. it's truly a secondhand emotion. So,
I'm totally right there with you. The older that I get, the more I agree with that. I agree.
That is so harsh.
And a lot of men, in my opinion, a lot of Western men, that live in the Western world, in my opinion, they get caught up in this second or third hand emotion, and they just, I think, more practical now. So if I like the person and we like each other and we get along, I'm good. I'm good. But the love thing.
Okay, so let's just explore the love thing. Let's explore the love thing, because if you're gonna get together with someone over 40, does it need to be about love, or what does love mean to over? Are you saying as we get older we don't need love? We don't need, or we don't need that? Is that what you're saying? I think
the right term, if we put this term on it, life partner. Operative word here is partner. Okay. So in a relationship, be it let's say and what's married, but a relationship, let's say for the sake of this conversation, a marriage relationship, it's a business.
Hi.
Okay. So you want a good teammate, you want a good partner through thick and thin. Are they going to have your back? That type of thing. So love, and love is such a subjective word, so you might love your kids unconditionally, but now when it comes to your life partner, your teammate, it is love. It's a secondhand emotion.
Okay.
Kente, are you agreeing with that? Okay, because I think we're dividing here. I think it's gonna be a division. So
No,
Kente, I just want to hear your view.
I do agree with it. I mean,
secondhand emotion, like really?
Yeah, I mean, it's not about just love. It's about how the pieces fit, what you bring to my life, it's more than just I love you, baby. I mean,
I hear that.
So especially after 40, because this might be the person you're gonna die with. So you want to definitely make sure that that person is the right one. So and really, marriage is a business transaction too. So I mean, I wish I wish it was totally about I love you, you're so wonderful.
Hey, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's totally about that, but I'm saying there has to be an ingredient in there. I'm going to see as a business that we're going to connect, and we've got to make sure that we both know what we're doing, we have somewhere to live, and all the practicalities and and who's going to bury who or whatever or where. I get all of that. The ingredient, the foundation for me would be the love or the intimacy as well, because I think what else? We just like, okay, you fit what I need. This is what we need to do. Let's get together. And there's what is keeping this? What's the mixture that's keeping this together? I don't get it. I'm sorry, guys.
Friendship? What about friendship?
Okay, friendship is good. Friendship is good, but I don't know if I want to wake up to my friend every day necessarily. There's gonna be more than just friendship there.
The part that's missing in this is chemistry, right? There's got to be some kind of chemistry.
Gotta be some chemistry.
And
what the hell?
Right.
And that's not always love necessarily, but I do.
Okay.
But I do think this. I do think it's possible to grow into love as you are with someone. When you find someone who feels really compatible to your life, even if you don't start out loving them, there is the opportunity for that to sort of happen as time goes by. I don't think you can think about being single and being in a partnership as being simply transactional. I think that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
However,
that's cold.
Right. However,
that's cold.
But I do.
No, I didn't say that though. By the way.
I know. I'm just sort of stating, like, clearing up in my own head how this kind of works for me. But there is a point, I think, that to be made about understanding that there are transactional moments in this that are important to cover. Like, it's really important before you head into a long-term committed relationship to know that there's chemistry there. I think it's important in a long-term relationship to understand what sort of roles and responsibilities maybe are going to be, or at least straighten some of them out a little bit. Not to sort of just like jump into something and then go, okay, well, love will get us through and we'll iron everything out. To me, the older that I get, the more pie in the sky that feels. That's how I got into my first marriage, and it didn't really work so well.
No, I agree.
Yeah, but you know what though? At certain, it's supposed to be in sickness and health, for better or for worse. And the truth is, most of the time it's really not. It's I'm with you until the shit hits the fan. Then you know what? I got to be out of here. I need to find me a new person. So, I mean, that stuff sounds good, and ideally, like I always say that the person I want to marry is the person. Hey, what's up, Dre? The person I want to marry is like, I don't know if you ever see that, like someone who, when their spouse dies, they're just like really bent out of shape. They damn near want to jump on the casket as it's going down. Like, they really love that person. They, that real deep love. You don't want that love that's just like, well, you know what, he's gone. Oh, well, next. Like, I mean, at some point you got to move on, but dang, man, I'm not even in the ground yet, and you've already, on. Yeah, ideally that's what you want, but the truth is, like I said, it's a business transaction. Hopefully it has something to do with love too. I mean, post 40, is it? Here's the question: like post 40, I mean,
are you capable of loving post 40?
Like, and then also, Jen said something about chemistry. Okay. Yeah. Can someone explain the difference between chemistry and just lust? Because if I lust for somebody and, oh my gosh, she's so fine, she's this and that, well, we will say that's some chemistry. So I want somebody to say the difference, because I think a lot of people get that confused, chemistry and lust.
So
I'm going to let Jen answer that one.
Yeah, to me the difference. To me, the difference is chemistry is something that is sustainable over a long period of time. You know when you have chemistry with someone because you have a sense from that person that there is a long-term interest. It doesn't have to necessarily be the romantic head over heels, I'm in love with you. It has to be a sustainable interest in the other person. And I have to address something real quick, because I feel like this is sort of overlooked and maybe a giant issue that people don't address because they don't want to address it. As you get older, you find yourself in periods of lower self-esteem. You find yourself in territory that you weren't in perhaps when you were in your 20s or in your 30s. And as you go through those experiences, it affects how you feel about other people. So the chemistry that you feel toward other people may not be that quick, sharp sense of lust that you had when you were in your 20s and even in your 30s. It's something a little bit different. I mean, I hate to say that you know it when you see it or when you experience it, but you do. There's an experience about being around someone that makes you want to be around them more. And it's not that you've fallen in love with them. It's that you have a connection. Kinte, you said it well.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I like it when someone points out when I'm there.
I'm actually just on the show to feed Kinte's ego. I don't know if you knew that, but that's really my primary.
I love Jen, man. I'm keeping Jen forever. But no, but like you said, though, yeah, you do start looking at yourself different, and sometimes you do go through moments of self-doubt. I mean, I remember when I was 20 and I get out of the shower and I walk in front of the mirror, I'd be like pose, like now you're trying to run past the mirror. So I definitely feel you on that. But yeah, I mean, you're going through, your body's changed now. I mean, it changes at 30 and then it starts changing at 40. And I imagine it changes at 50 as well. And as you keep adding some years to you, but so then you start changing. I mean, the way that you see things. And then also one thing that I've learned too is, this can happen too. I noticed there's two things that happen for people that are over 40 that are really looking to settle down. Either they'll stay in relationships way too long, hoping that the longer they're in it, it'll work out, because they feel like they've invested time, and it's like, I've invested this time, and I'm not getting any younger, and hopefully this works out. The thing that I liked them in the beginning, maybe we'll switch back to it. Or the smart ones, when they recognize the red flags and it's not working out, they cut bait faster.
Yeah, later.
Because they're like, I'm 40-some years old. I can't be playing around. Like, when I'm 20.
I ain't got time for
that. So can I ask you guys all like a quick question? Because I'm actually really curious about this, and I'll tell you what my answer is too. What is it that you think when you're over 40 is the single most important attribute that a person has? Is it looks? Is it intellect? Is it spirituality? What is it?
That's great.
So who's going to go first? I can tell you what mine is. Okay. So I love intellect. I think intellect is probably the sexiest thing on my opposite. Intellect and coupled with spirituality, I think if you are a well-rounded person, you have.
I think we we lost her. She frozen.
Yep, looks like it.
Let's see. We'll have her step down and get back in. Okay, just come back in. Grab your reclaim your spot. Okay, so I guess I'll go while she's coming back. The thing that I look at is compatibility. I want someone that I can be boring with. I'm looking for someone that I can be boring with. What I mean is, when you're having a great time, you're going, you're traveling to Paris or you're going there. I mean, of course you're going to have fun, right? But I want someone that I can just kick it at the house with and have a good time with them, and to, just really enjoy their company. And, sometimes that's hard to find, right? Someone that, because I don't do a lot of the crazy stuff I used to do. So I'm not in them streets like Jen. Jen is still in the streets. But, so, I've definitely slowed down. So I definitely want someone that I can be boring with, someone that I can just really enjoy their company. We don't have to agree on everything, but some things are very important. Political is definitely important. Religion is important, I would think, for a lot of people, because, if you're a Christian, you don't want to probably date a Satan worshiper. So, that's pretty different, right?
Oh, I don't know. Everybody loves a project.
That's a big project. That's a big project. That'd be something, trying to bring a Satan worshiper home to the mom. My mother, man, she would take some holy water and sprinkle it on old girl. So so those things are very, very important. Just someone I want to just be with. Kids. Okay, so I don't have any children, and one thing of dating women that have kids that I realize, and I'd be interested in, how you say your name, Vaban?
Call me House.
Oh, House. Okay.
Yeah.
Is when you date a woman who has children, it's very important to really understand the dynamic they have with the kids, because as the person without children, because discipline is very important to me. I don't kids that are just running wild, doing whatever. Like that's a red flag. You want to stay away from that. When the son and the mother has like one of them weird kind of relationships, you know what I'm talking about. That's kind of weird too. Those things that you want to watch out for as well. So it's really how they relate to each other. With obviously with the baby daddy situation is very important as well. You want to know. You want to know about all of that kind of stuff. So, but it definitely can be difficult if you don't really put a lot into those things. And then obviously you have to be really understanding because, you don't want to date a woman where her kids don't come first. Right. And, who don't, who neglects their children. So that's a turn off as well. So,
well, you and I would never get along then, Kinte. Sorry.
Oh, right. Because you're kids.
Yeah. I just throw my kids out into the yard and let them fend for themselves.
You threw the baby out with the bathwater. Huh?
That is yeah. If I could, if I would have understood that way ahead of time, I could have saved myself, a long decade of just unnecessary heartache. Yeah, it would have been great.
Mm-hmm. So, House, what about you? Do you have children?
No children. I've dated women with children, but I don't have any. Mm-hmm. Like kids, they come along. I look at relationships now from like a global standpoint. Even in the United States, this is one of the main reasons why I say what's love got to do with it. I look at relationship models. There are more relationship models out here than Baskin-Robbins has flavors of ice cream. And we probably have all heard of people that, I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, when she got married to her first husband, they got married kind of quick, like within less than a year they got married. I mean, from the time they got married. And that, I think, 90 days after they got married, he asked, she found out he's into swinging. That should have probably been brought up before they got married. So that's why I'm looking. I don't think there's no such thing as a perfect match. You just have to see what's out here and see what kind of relationship model works best for you. The main thing with me is in my next permanent relationship, if there is such a word, in reality, it's going to be based on a one sentence, actually 2 sentences. The first sentence is a mission statement that defines the relationship. I want a mission statement strong enough that we both agree on, where the mission of that relationship while we're together is bigger than the individuals in the relationship. The second sentence will be a vision statement. What's that supposed to look like? Because my whole thing now is, what kind of legacy are you going to leave to the next generation and the next generation? So that's where I'm at. So if your vision statement, your mission statement is so strong that a booty call, extramarital affairs will not rock it, because the reason why you two are together is bigger than either one of you or whatever mishap, if you call it a mishap, or what people, will do. Which is probably totally weird to most people, but
so you're saying
that's how I look at it now.
So you're saying that infidelity shouldn't end the relationship?
Once again, there are more relationship models than Baskin-Robbins. See, we've been mostly talking about it from a Western Christian point of view, which basically means you're supposed to marry one person and not have sex outside. That's just one flavor out of the 31 plus flavors of relationships that exist.
Mm-hmm.
There are different type of relationships out here. I'm not saying not everything's for everybody, but a lot of people need to realize what type of relationship do you want. It needs to be clearly defined, and what type of relationship does the other person want, and that means putting stuff out on the table that might be considered taboo when you first meet. Because people might, well, they might not, I really like this person. I really want them to like me. But if I tell them, some of my secret fantasies or thoughts, they might not like me. And that happens all the time. So I'd like to say, define what kind of relationship that you model that you want. If you want the so-called westernized Christian relation, then what's that? Because Mormons are Christians. And even in that camp, you have the reorganized Church of Latter-day Saints. So you have some of them that are old school that believe in polygamy, and they're called Christians. And you have others that is called Christians in the Mormon religion, and they believe in one man, one woman, and that's it. And there's all different type of models in between. So I think people need to define don't go into a marriage assuming, but most people go into they don't know what kind of a model of a relationship, they don't know what it looks like. They assume what's in their head is in the same thing in the other person's head until they get married, and then they find out, you know what? There are two different lifestyles here that are conflicting.
Do you guys think that being over 40 makes you more open to thinking about relationships differently, or do you think it makes you more closed to thinking about relationships differently?
For me, it's open.
So you didn't feel the same way when you were in your 20s?
Oh, no. When I was... Look, I'm 61 right now. Okay. So in my 20s, I had, in my opinion, a totally unrealistic view. I mean, looking back on it now, a totally unrealistic view of marriage based on the Western paradigm of marriage, because people are people. I mean, you have people that get married, in the pulpit, and they say one thing and they live another way.
Yeah, I hate that. I mean, I would rather know who I'm dealing with.
I would put it out on it. That's what I'm saying. A lot of things that people, they're afraid that if they bring it out, like within the first 1 to 3 times that you meet, like on dates or whatever you want to call it, it might be considered taboo. And they really like the person, but they're afraid if they bring this up about a particular style of lifestyle that they like or are into, and then they just let it go on. They don't say anything, and then they get into the relationship. It's going to come out eventually, And like I said, there's so many different type of relationships that are models that you can get into. So that's why I think friendship is the most important foundation that you can start any relationship on. Your ex-boyfriends, ex-husbands, secret fantasies, put it out on let's see what's there and go from there.
Oh man, I'm in big trouble, Kente.
Hilarious.
I got to be throwing out all of those. Whew, you know me. I'm in big trouble. It's going to be a long conversation. By the time we get to the next date, we won't even be done with all of my different, fantasy crushes. Shoot.
Oh, that's funny. Some guys have this attitude is I marry a woman and she's like my wife, the person I make babies with, and live that, that picket fence thing. But my real passion, though, is that side woman. That's the one I'm hanging from the chandelier. That's the one with the handcuffs. That's the one with the whips and chains and stuff. But I don't do that with my wife because that's the woman that kisses my babies at night. Have you ever heard that mentality?
Yeah, that's Madonna whore. That's the Madonna whore complex.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is.
I mean, it's good if you get it. if you can get it.
No, it's not good if you can. Why? See, why do you have to be so fake about what that is? If you can't find somebody who has some kind of compatibility with you on that score, then what's the point? What are you doing? Why would you want to live a lie that way? I mean, personally, I don't understand that.
I agree.
No, I was kidding too, by the way.
I know.
But no, but I guess the reason why they do it is they want their cake and eat it too, you know? So,
well, let me chime in on that real quick, man. Here's where I'm at. This is how open-minded I am today as opposed to where I was when I was 20. Realistically, I can't speak for anybody else, but realistically, I can't fill every need that woman has. I'm just human. It's not going to happen. She's stupid if she thinks I can do it, and I'm more stupid if I think I can do it. So like I said, that's why my next permanent relationship will be based on a one-sentence mission statement, because essentially, if you got some kind of need or want that needs to be filled, go out and do your thing. I'm sticking to the basic mission plan of what kind of legacy are we going to leave for the next generation. I'm thinking 200, 300 years out. That's where I'm at with it. But see, what I just said might totally sound, I mean, most people can't handle it. Now, for me, I don't need all these other women. Okay? Because I don't want to hear a whole bunch of set of problems. I don't want to be dealing with a whole lot of in-laws. One woman is enough for me. However, if she's got some kind of need or want or itch to scratch, do your thing. But business is business. Let's just be compatible and stick with the one-sentence mission statement so we can generate some generational wealth and leave a huge legacy for generations to come.
Dang, that's really evolved. I guess I ain't there yet. I don't like community coochie.
No, I didn't say I was going to sleep with her now.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
I mean,
wait a minute. That begs the question. So, so are we saying that being single over 40, that sex is not somehow a part of this equation?
It can be. Once again, it's based on your relate. All right, with me now. It's based on your relationship model. For most people, you can equate sex, but I think we all know people that I've known people that have been married 5+ years and they don't have sex.
See, I don't know. I don't know why, but that to me would not be a really good relationship.
And for the type of relationship model that you like to be in, it won't work. But that's you.
True enough. That's true enough. You're right.
Wow.
I wasn't this way 40 years ago. I'm this way now. Okay.
I can imagine, yes. I guess so, huh? When you get older, you know, it's not for some people it's not as
well, here's the thing I realize. None of us we don't own anybody. If you're a parent, you don't own your kids. All right? If you're in a relationship with somebody, married or whatever you want to call it, with a license or whatever you want to call it, you don't own them. All it is, it's your turn in this time and space in the universe to be with that person, and that's it. And it's going to be temporary, no matter how far you fall in love or not in love or whatever, it's going to be temporary. So it's just your turn. That's it. You don't own them.
Yeah, but commitment to a partnership, in my mind, means something more. And the older that I get, the more defined this becomes. Commitment is not something that you should just throw away lightly. Commitment is something that you give to people when you really mean it. And so I guess, I mean, in some ways you're right. You have to define where the commitment falls on all sides of the spectrum in terms of what your, what you think your responsibilities are to each other. But it seems to me that if you say that there is no commitment between two people, then why have the partnership at all?
So you can have a commitment. I'm just saying that commitments, because we're human, it's temporary. We're going to die eventually.
Well, that's true.
So when you die, the commitment stops. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's why I'm all into a one sentence mission statement, because, whatever we're building, it keeps on going with the legacy.
Okay.
But our physical cells, it's going to be temporary. And then here's another thing. People are human. I think a lot of humans just put too much faith in other humans. I love commitment too. But if a person does something human, and we all do something human, okay, how strong is your commitment going to be? Can you hang in? And for some people, if a fly farted, commitment's over with. For other people, you can have extramarital affairs with extra babies and all this, and the people are still together. So once again, everybody's got a different temperament based on whatever situation they're into.
Yeah.
But can I ask a question? If you're over 40, okay, should you have not got to a stage where you've got rid of all that stuff of like, I need to go make other babies, I need to be playing around? Like, is this not a part of your life where you're a little bit more serious about what commitment means than in your former years when you were playing the game? I don't know. Is
all right? Depends on.
It's a better
real
stage
quick,
of life.
All right, depends on. I'll give for examples from my life. When I was in my 40s, I met other women in there. One particular woman, she was in her 40s too, but she had gotten pregnant and got involved in a relationship at 19 and had like 2-3 kids behind that. Whereas when I was 19 and 20, I was in college having a blast being single. So when we met, she was trying to do the things I already did at 19 and 20, and I was trying to settle down. So it all depends on where people are in their life. And that's particularly after 40, because I know a whole bunch of war stories that the June Cleaver, conservative woman, she was that way for 30 years, raised her family, raised 3 daughters, helped her husband climb the corporate ladder. But then when she was in her 40s, she wanted to do her. She wanted to help herself for a change. And that she went totally off the chain. So
in our last 4 minutes, we've got 4 minutes, haven't we?
No, we have to close out because so I can go.
We got to close out.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And that's all right. And I fell off, so I just want to apologize to people. Mm-hmm. We had a little bit of a power failure here. But I just want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. Thank you to Jen and to I call him It's My House, although it's got bourbon on there, but that's his AKA. And thank you to all my listeners and everybody in the virtual world who's hanging out or listening or going to listen to the recording. Thank you very much. Do you guys want to say anything finally? Or I know we got to close out, but do you want a 2-second goodbye, Jen?
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a really great conversation.
It was.
Oh, thank you for coming on.
You bet.
It's amazing to connect. And It's My House. Anything finally?
Do it again. You know how much I love your show, so we like to have you on weekly if possible.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, God, you put it out there. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Thank you. And thank you, Kente, for your time. And thank you for everybody on the Indie Network, Indie Radio. Thank you. And I'll see you guys again. Good night.
Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.